subscribe, support, stay positive. Hold on a second, folks. This is not part of my vlog, but well, guys, it's me, Tommy, NC 2010, and so what we're gonna talk about is relationships. You see, what's interesting about a relationship is people force themselves into relationships, and I guess the main reason why people force themselves into a relationship because they feel rejected. They feel like they're not loved, honestly, and the reason is because it's the copacetic, being copacetic with that loved one. But when you try to cross the boundaries of just being lovers, what happens is sex gets involved. And with sex, there's a lot of powerful emotions and a lot of cross-roll ideas that are thrown into bunches and just constantly ripped apart. You see, the female, we all look at the female and say, why is this? Why is that? You know, I think the main thing is the female wants us to feel to their needs. And when we don't feel to their needs, we lose that copaceticness of that bonding, and what we do is we put sex in there. Now, sex is just an item. It's kind of like an emotion, but it's meant to be like a prosper into relationship. Now, sex and relationships are two different things. You can have sex while you're having a relationship, or, hold on a second, for instance, somebody's calling me right now. No, somebody just texted me. But when somebody has sex a lot, they're called a player. Dude, you're a player, man. You've been sleeping with every single girl on the block, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, a lot of times guys do this to feel a moment of power. And why do they feel like they have power is because they want to feel like they can do what they want when they want. You see, back in the day, the cowboys were like that. People look up to cowboys and admire cowboys. But the fact is, the cowboy was your average, old-fashioned player. Why was he an old-fashioned player? Because he was always sleeping with every single woman, even impregnating some of these women, and bastard children became cowboys and went off. Basically, cowboys were oftenly bastard childs because their fathers back then were tough, grimy, and they would fly off the handle. And they did not want to raise a child. They didn't want to change diapers. They thought of their own self. And the main thing of relationships, reason why relationships fall apart so much is because the man doesn't want to feel tied down. And the reason to that is because the mind and state thinks in the mind of the relationship that himself as that person being strapped down to that one woman, he thinks, I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to sit here and deal with this crap. I should jump in my car and take off. But back then, they'd jump on their horse and just take off into the sunset. And you would never see that cowboy again. Because oftenly, we look up to these cowboys and think they were awesome. But the fact is, they were no good scoundrels that just slept around with women, making bastard children, making bastard cowboys, and really, the cowboys are bastards. Because why? Because they slept around and okay, now I'm getting off topic here, but the thing is, the main thing is relationships. When relationships include into the situation, you have a multi-thing here. You have people together that love and care, that show passion for something that you need, something you want. A relationship is like a drug. You have to have it. The woman has to be needed. She wants her heart to be filled with you. Now that's not a sexual window. That is true. The woman wants every bit of your attention. Why? Because you are her drug. She is taking you as an incentive to feel like she's important, which she is important. But yourself is important. A lot of times a man practically puts himself, if you look at every average man that has a job, practically puts himself into bankruptcy by trying to buy her. Now, if you get into a relationship that is where now I think in a relationship, it shouldn't be where, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, It should be a fair and open relationship. And a lot of times that people try to open up the situation to feel prosperity. And what do I mean by prosperity? Is because people are naturally intertwined with their deepest, darkest feelings. A person can feel love and passion for one person and see no flaw in that person. Love them and care about them, but as soon as they get to hang out with them and they see everything, they see every single flaw. A lot of times guys do this. They see a particular woman and they use that and they counteract it, and typically in situations like this, we go from point A to point B. So, just to say that in every situation, we find ourselves with a counteracting goal. What do I mean? What do you mean by that, Tommy? What do I mean by that is women are naturally drawn to men. And what do I mean by that, girls? Was because naturally, you girls want something, from us. So I'm trying to figure out how to set this up. I'm trying to figure out how to set this up. I'm sorry. But the counteracting is that love is an incinerator, is a goal, a passion, or any way of trying to improve the situation. So, in every other possibility, we use that romance, we use that capability that we can operate to the possibility of the point break of insanity. So, in the situation is, we go from this situation to this situation. Okay, hold on a second, folks. I'm trying to set you up. Now, relationships, they're complicated. They are very constantly complicated. And if we take to a point to extensionary, we can say one thing, that the person that you love is with the person that they care about. Now, in the circumstance, people are automatically, intentionally, always contradicting themselves. And why are they contradicting themselves? Because the fact is, mentally, people are mentally unstable. Why are they unstable? Because the fact is that they can't see themselves with that person. And to say, people are naturally drawn into love. They're drawn into passion. And when you get that center of that dot and you pinpoint it, you find that point A to point B doesn't matter. In a relationship, when you have point A and point B, you see that things just happen to happen. Things are just random in a relationship. You should just go into a relationship randomly, approach somebody, talk to them. If they leave you, understand that. Don't follow. If you want to follow, you can. If you've watched movies, you understand this. If you've watched movies, do not believe any things that are in movies. They are not true. So, the thing is, are we naturally drawn to love, romance? Well, I'll tell you what it is, folks. We are drawn to one thing. That is sex. That's what every man wants. And don't deny it, guys. That's what you want. That's all we want is sex. Sex, 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 sex. That's all we need. We'll be satisfied. And what it is we use that tool, which we call sex, as a divining object. And why do we use sex as a divining object? Because we use sex to try to implore into the situation. Now, what happens is when people have sex, they have a baby. Now, what happens is, as I said about the cowboys, they are often assholes because they abandon their child and leaving bastard kids everywhere. Oh, El Paso, I got a kid down in El Paso, but I'm never going to step into his life. You know, that's the thing. I've looked up this whole thing, and I've looked at this in perspective. Cowboys are assholes. Why are they assholes? Because they abandon kids. They take a relationship as my name is Mrs. Kitty. My name is Mrs. Kitty. Well, hello there. You know, I think you're mighty nice there. And and she's like, how we hit the spurs a little bit. And he's like, I'd like to hit your spurs. Boom, boom, boom. Basically, Mrs. Kitty and that cowboy had sex together. Matlock, yes, Miss Kitty and Matlock. Okay, Miss Kitty and Matlock. Boink, 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 boink. Matlock. Now, in case people always look at Matlock as the hero, and I guess he is because he's the modern sheriff. He never left town. He was always there. I'm sorry if I'm getting this confused, if I'm getting Matlock and Mrs. Kitty mixed up. If anybody watches Westerns, please tell me in the comments. I swear to God, if I hear another comment about that certain subject, I am going to just not listen to you. I'm going to delete your comments. So folks, if you feel like you want a relationship, do this. Think about it first, then make a movement. If you think the relationship's going to go any farther, think about this. Now I'm thinking about making this title Sex, Love, and Relationships. And I think that's what I'm going to call it. But don't get me on that just yet, because whenever I'm processing the titles, I think about how to do this. So, if you want to know why I use this room, because it echoes. You can hear my voice echoing. And I'm talking to you about relationships because I thought this would be a good place. I didn't have my tripod with me today, so I just set it up wherever I could. But thank you folks for watching. I am Tommy NC 2010, and I'm keeping you on the inside facts.